rubbish, and that just shows why he isn't, no, he's nobody. Simple as that.
Well, they're pointing security on the stage.
Sent Price packing from Prague. The referee was Bray, needing to get between the pair. There was nothing between.
You try to piss me off, I'm telling you.
Wait, whoa. Now then,
These are 10 players and people who clashed with Adrian Lewis, a two-time PDC world champion whose talent for creating chaos on and off the oche matched his talent for winning titles. Adrian Lewis, nicknamed Jackpot, born in Stoke-on-Trent. World champion in 2011, then again in 2012, and arguably the most combustible personality professional darts has ever produced. His career reads like a masterclass in wasted potential and spectacular confrontation, with one verified incident after another involving players who reached their limit with him. Today, we go through every confirmed feud and fallout in order to show exactly how one of the sport's greatest talents managed to make enemies out of almost everyone he crossed paths with. Number 1. Peter Manley. The whole thing starts in 2006 when Adrian Lewis is 20 years old and playing in his first PDC World Championship quarter-final at the Circus Tavern. His opponent is Peter Manley, and from the moment they step on that stage, Manley gets inside his head. Manley starts talking while Lewis is throwing, deliberately and constantly, and Lewis begins to crack under it. What happens next is one of the most replayed moments in early PDC history. Lewis throws his last dart of a 180 and has already turned around to face Manley before the dart even lands on the board. The famous blind 180, not needing to look because he already knows exactly where it went. Manley keeps going anyway, and eventually Lewis does something nobody in the building expects. He walks off the stage mid-match. He comes back after speaking with referee Russ Bray, loses 5 sets to 3, and both players receive fines. Rod Harrington later explained what the cameras captured, saying the Sky Sports crew had zoomed in on Manley's mouth and you could lip read him telling Lewis to give it large. Manley's own version, offered years later, was considerably more innocent. I had absolutely no idea why he walked off. All I said to him was, "You're having a laugh, just get on with the game." The footnote here matters. Manley later took Lewis and his entire family out to dinner, which tells you this wasn't a permanent falling out. What it did establish though was something that would follow Adrian Lewis for the next 2 decades. Push him and he pushes back, sometimes in ways that cost him more than they cost the other person. Number 2. Kevin Painter. 2 years after the Manley walk-off, Lewis was caught up in something considerably more serious. At the Open Holland Masters in April 2008, a quarter-final between Lewis and Kevin Painter collapsed so badly that security escorted Painter from the arena, and both players received disqualifications from the tournament. The DRA investigation that followed found Lewis guilty on 3 counts, using offensive language, using threatening behaviour toward an opponent, and recklessly disregarding the tournament director's instructions. A 6-month ban with 4 months suspended and a £400 fine. Painter collected a 3-month ban with 2 months suspended, plus a £200 fine. Lewis was 22 years old at this point, already carrying a fine from the 2006 World Championship, and building a reputation that had nothing to do with his scoring average. Number 3. Gary Anderson. 2 separate incidents connect Gary Anderson and Adrian Lewis, and the second one became one of the strangest stories Premier League darts has ever produced. The first came at the 2009 World Grand Prix, where heated words broke out between them after Anderson felt Lewis had entered the exclusion zone while he was at the oche. Lewis won 3 sets to 2, and no formal action followed, but the tension was visible and documented. The second incident, set in Glasgow during Week 8 of the 2011 Premier League, is the one that never gets forgotten. Lewis had beaten Anderson in the World Championship final just months earlier, which meant walking into Anderson's home country carrying that result. The crowd turned hostile from the walk-on. Beer landed on Lewis, coins struck the stage, and objects kept arriving throughout the match. Lewis had to step back from the oche mid-throw to gesture at the crowd. He still won 8 legs to 3. Describing it afterward, Lewis put it plainly. There were a few coins throwing. Them coins could have gone anywhere. Gary was on the stage next to me. We could both hear them all thudding against the stage. None of that prepared anyone for what Anderson said in a BBC Scotland interview 4 years later, in 2015, when he was asked directly whether he had deliberately lost that match. His answer was yes. "I didn't want to win a game where that happened. I thought it was a disgrace." He added, "I'm a proud Scotsman, but when that happened it sickened me." Anderson later walked it back on social media, clarifying he would never intentionally lose a match but had lost all motivation because of the crowd's behaviour. No personal feud runs between these two men. Anderson's anger that night pointed at his own supporters, not at Lewis. What the story reveals, though, is the kind of environment that could form around Lewis simply because he showed up. Number 4. James Wade. James Wade appears twice in the Adrian Lewis story, and both times he walked away, convinced Lewis had exploited something beyond anyone's control. The first occasion is Breezegate, the 2012 PDC World Championship semi-final at Alexandra Palace on January 2nd. Lewis trails 2-0 when both players abandon the stage, each complaining about a draft blowing across the playing area. Play stops for roughly 20 to 25 minutes. When they return, the crowd has already turned on Lewis and heckles him for the rest of the match. Lewis wins 6-5, coming back from 5 legs to 1, down in the deciding set and closing it with a 161 checkout, one of the greatest comebacks in World Championship history. Wade's verdict, delivered with considerable bitterness. "If I hadn't been a gentleman, I would have been world champion. If we had stayed on the stage, there is no way I would have lost to Adrian." The second occasion is Floorboard Gate from the 2012 Premier League in Nottingham. A loose board on the stage produced a loud pop whenever someone stood on it, and Wade filed an official DRA complaint. Certain Lewis was deliberately stamping to disrupt his concentration. Rod Harrington investigated, confirmed the board was genuinely loose through a stage crew member who then fixed it, and ruled. "I don't believe he did, and I don't think he did anything wrong." Lewis's response to the accusation was to perform an exaggerated bouncing demonstration on the offending board that left the audience, the referee, and even Wade laughing. He was trailing 4 legs to 2 at the interval and won 8 legs to 5. 2 incidents, 2 complaints from Wade, 2 Lewis victories. The pattern speaks for itself. Number 5. Gerwyn Price. The feud between Lewis and Gerwyn Price is the richest, most sustained, and most entertaining conflict of his entire career, running from 2015 to at least 2022 across 4 verified confrontations. It begins at the 2015 World Match Play in Blackpool, where Price, ranked 27th at the time, beats Lewis 13 legs to 10. A good win for Price, an unacceptable result for Lewis. 12 months later, before the 2016 World Match Play rematch in the same building, Lewis went on Sky Sports and said this: "I'll tell you one thing, Gerwyn Price had one lucky game last year, and that was against me. I'll turn him over, no problem." He also called Price a big mouth who's never won anything and never will win anything. The pair then spent days trading insults on social media, with Price replying on Twitter, "Win for me is a bonus. A loss for Lewis will now be embarrassing. No pressure on me, I'm a nobody." Lewis won 11 legs to 5, and the post-match Sky Sports interview that followed entered darts television history. The reflection was, "I was rubbish, and that just shows why he's nobody. Simple as that. He turned up there, bottled it, simple as that. Between greatness and not so great, that just showed tonight." He also added, "He's won a couple of tournaments, but that's because all the top boys aren't there." Wayne Mardle watched it all from the commentary position and delivered his own verdict without softening it. As you can see from Adrian in the interview, he's still not in control of his emotions. He clearly doesn't like him. I don't think the likes of Gary Anderson, or Phil Taylor, or Michael van Gerwen would have got involved on social media, but that is Adrian. By October 2016, Lewis was telling another Sky Sports interviewer that Price had blocked him on Twitter, finding it genuinely funny. "I said to him, I've gained you 10,000 followers and now you've blocked me." The feud went quiet for several years before Prague brought it back. Czech Darts Open, May 2022. Lewis beats Price 6 legs to 3, Price having missed double 12 for a 9-dart finish in the 7th leg, and at the final dart Lewis grabs Price from behind in a bear hug. Price rejected it furiously, pointing and shouting, and referee Russ Bray physically stepped between them before it went any further. Lewis's reading of it: I don't know what that was about at the end, but he had a go at me for some reason, calling me fat something. He obviously doesn't realise I'm an athlete. That's where he's gone wrong there. Price posted to Instagram: one that I let get to me tonight. I learn every day and it only makes me stronger. Sky Sports commentator Laura Turner had the clearest summary of all. That's totally Adrian Lewis, isn't it? He knows how to push players' buttons. Number 6. Michael van Gerwen. More than 50 competitive matches connected Lewis and van Gerwen, with van Gerwen leading the head-to-head 44 wins to 14, with 3 draws recorded as of late 2018. Their 2013 World Championship quarter-final, where Lewis missed 2 match darts at double top before van Gerwen took it 5 sets to 4, remains one of the great what-ifs in the tournament's history. On-stage friction between them was documented as far back as the 2014 Premier League, when a 6-6 draw produced a post-match rant from van Gerwen. There was only one player playing in that game, me, simple. He wasn't in the game, he was slowing me down. At the 2016 World Cup final in Frankfurt, England beat the Netherlands 3 matches to 2, with Lewis winning the deciding singles against van Gerwen 4 legs to 1. An angry on-hockey exchange followed the final dart, captured on camera and widely circulated, though no formal complaint resulted. None of that compares to what came in December 2024. Appearing on the Dutch podcast Darts Dry Door, van Gerwen heard a story about Lewis calling a 140 as a 180 at an exhibition match, done for the crowd's entertainment, and he laughed, then delivered this: honestly, Lewis has cheated all his life. There was no bigger cheater than him. You should ask Phil Taylor or Raymond van Barneveld the same thing. Lewis did nothing but talk behind you and stomp. He pulled out all the stops to take you out of your game, van Gerwen continued. And then afterwards, playing the innocence of the dead. I said it to him regularly too. Fellow former professional Vincent van der Voort confirmed it on the same episode. Then he would walk past you and make a move, or he cheered separately or extra exuberantly. He always did that. These accusations came from the greatest player of his generation, made on record, and no formal PDC investigation followed. No public response from Lewis has ever been documented. Number 7. Peter Wright. Players' Championship Finals, 2nd round, November 27, 2021, Minehead. Wright recovers from 3 legs down to beat Lewis 6 legs to 5, and before the crowd has even finished reacting, Lewis is being led off the stage by security staff. Within minutes, the posts started appearing on Twitter. I honestly did nothing wrong. Even I was bewildered with what was going on and trying to process it whilst trying to concentrate on my darts. Then, he said to me there was a loose floorboard and I found it, so my response to him was, you took me out my rhythm, you had a game plan, and as world number 2, it's disgraceful and you're nothing but a cheat. And he knew what he was doing. As soon as I went 3-1 up, he started muttering things and shaking his head at me, which put me in a situation that made me feel uncomfortable. Lewis also wrote, trouble does seem to follow me around, I can't deny it, but it's only because I'm a genuine person who wears my heart on my sleeve and people try to take advantage of that. Wright's ITV4 response treated the whole thing as a comedy. We were discussing whose turn it was to send a Christmas card. He later told another outlet, I'm not bothered about Adrian and the comments. If people want to put stupid messages on there, put stupid messages. On the Dart Show podcast, Lewis held his position without backing down. I went 3-0 up against Wrighty and lost. I told the truth, and that's how I saw it, and that's how I still see it. There is also a prequel to this conflict. Back in May 2016, Peter Wright's wife Jo Wright posted something on Twitter that Lewis read as implying Gary Anderson would deliberately lose their Premier League match, and he responded publicly, calling her an absolute disgrace and one horrible woman, stating she shouldn't be calling him or Gary Anderson cheats in what he described as the most genuine sport out there at the minute. Jo Wright maintained her comment had been sarcastic and taken out of context. Number 8. Jose Justicia, February 2nd, 2018, Robin Park Tennis Centre in Wigan. Lewis lines up against Spanish qualifier Jose Justicia in a UK Open qualifier, and as the match progresses, his composure deteriorates. Justicia's behaviour at the table, which Lewis later described as including giggling, winds him up progressively through each leg. Expletives follow. The situation keeps building. Lewis wins the deciding leg 6 legs to 5, then pushes Justicia in the neck and chest area. Security steps in immediately. The DRA suspension arrives the same day. At the hearing on February 7th, Lewis admitted breaching the rules. A 3-month ban, suspended for 6 months, plus a £3,000 fine. His public apology read, "I deeply regret that my frustrations got the better of me, as I felt my opponent was trying to provoke me. I realise now that I should have reported any problems to tournament officials instead of confronting Jose Antonio Justicia Perales after the match." On the Club 501 podcast with Wayne Mardell, Lewis gave his account with characteristic directness. "To be honest, it was my fault. I hear him talking to the bar staff going, 'I want this and that now.' I thought, who the hell is that guy? I had already lost the plot and things escalated from there." This was Lewis's second formal DRA sanction in a decade. The pattern by this point needed no interpretation. Number 9. Phil Taylor. Phil Taylor and Adrian Lewis are not enemies, but the relationship between them belongs in this video because it shaped almost every conflict Lewis had with everyone else throughout his career. Taylor discovered Lewis around 2003, both of them from Stoke-on-Trent. Taylor came to a charity event, heard about this young player and invited him to train. Lewis later recalled it simply, "I was playing for a Super League team and Phil came by for a charity event. He'd heard a lot about me and asked if I wanted to practice with him." That arrangement lasted until Lewis broke into the PDC Top 16 and the two started meeting regularly on the circuit, at which point Lewis stepped away from training with him. A logical decision, but one with immediate consequences. As Lewis explained it, "With me practicing with Phil, that brought extra pressure because they couldn't beat Phil, so they try and take it out on me, so I was thrown into the deep end." The partnership for England at the World Cup of Darts produced 4 titles together in 2012, 2013, 2015 and 2016. Their 2013 Grand Slam of Darts semi-final still carries the reputation of the greatest match ever played, both men averaging above 109, 32 combined 180s between them. Taylor winning 16 legs to 9. Lewis has accused Taylor of gamesmanship, with what sounds like genuine fondness. He would be standing there and farting on the oche doing all sorts. Oh god, he is awful for it. He also claimed opponents' darts cases would mysteriously vanish at events, which he attributed to Taylor's methods. In February 2025, Lewis joked about Taylor's presence in modus punditry. "When I heard he was doing the punditry, I thought put me off for a couple more years until he retires fully. I'm used to him slagging me off anyway when I'm playing darts." As recently as December 2020, Taylor publicly backed Lewis for the World Championship, describing him as a contender whose back is against the wall. This is not a hatred, and it never was. What it is, though, is the explanation for something that runs through this entire list. By being the man closest to Phil Taylor, Lewis absorbed the hostility that other players couldn't direct at the power himself. Number 10. The PDC. In April 2023, Lewis announced an indefinite break from professional darts. His wife Sarah had been diagnosed with an incurable kidney condition. His daughter was dealing with combined autism and ADHD. He was burned out, his game had faded, and he stepped away entirely. His PDC tour card expired at the end of 2024. Q School in January 2025 came and went without him. PDC chairman Barry Hearn offered no warm welcome back. "It's not about what you used to do, it's about what you can do. Does he have to go through Q School? Yeah," Lewis replied on X. "I'd never want any handouts, and I'd never ask for one. I've taken 21 months off the PDC circuit for my own personal reasons, hence why I aren't playing at this year's World Championships." A 2-time world champion, required to attend Q School to re-enter the sport he helped define. Lewis had also spoken for years about Premier League omissions that still stung. "I think I should have been in for 2005 when it started, and probably 2008 as well. I certainly should have been in it in 2012 and probably 2013, so I'm disappointed that I only got one shot at it." On August 28, 2025, Lewis returned to competitive darts through Moda Sports, competing in the International Pairs Tournament in Portsmouth alongside Steve Beaton, his first competitive appearance in 29 months. He signed a multi-year management deal and has kept Q School in his sights. There's no good me going straight back into it, and then after 6 months thinking, nah, that's me done and retiring, I want to do it properly. Asked what he had missed about the sport, his answer cut through everything. The banter. I haven't missed the arguments I had on stage, but I've missed the lads. Adrian Lewis collected enemies almost as naturally as he collected 180s. He walked off stages, pushed opponents, called out world champions on Twitter in real time, had coins thrown at him in Glasgow, got accused of cheating by the greatest player of his generation on a Dutch podcast, and watched his PDC tour card expire while the organisation he helped build treated him like a stranger at the door. He also produced 2 world championships, one of the greatest comebacks in the history of the sport, and provided the opposition in what many people still call the greatest darts match ever played. Wayne Mardle said it best back in 2016, that is Adrian. Q School is still out there waiting, the darts world hasn't forgotten him, and if that card comes back, it's about to get a reminder.